Good morning, Morgan, and good morning to any of Morgan's friends that are joining us for this video today. Now we're going to dig a little bit deeper into classes, class objects, okay? But before we go do the reading, I just want to point out a comparison I want to make between when we define a function or a method, whatever you want to call it, and how we define a class before we get into all this freaking word salad, okay? All right, so here's their example of the class syntax, and this is completely inappropriate. Okay, statement one, as many statements as you want under the class. Okay, all right, wonderful. Okay, so let's compare that to our when we define a function. You know, we're passing the function some sort of value. Okay. And then we print it, all right? And here are little bits and pieces. You know, there's the function definition, then there's whatever we're going to call it. In this case, the Python definition keyword. The arguments would go within these paragraphs, and then there's a return statement, which is optional, okay? And then here's what I consider a better example of a class statement, okay? So what we're creating an object, okay? And if you notice, we have our function definition or method definition inside the class. Okay, so we're creating an object. Okay, where do we create the object? We actually create the object here. Okay, this is the blueprint for the object. All right. Okay, the object is going to have a variable, and it's going to be set at 4. So we don't need to pass it how many wheels. We know how many wheels it is. Okay? What might change? The color of the car, the style of the car. All right? And then here, we take the blueprint and we create our first car, C. And we want the car to be a sedan, and we want it to be black. Okay? And then here's the word salad begins. All right. So with that, I'm going to skip all over this because we already covered it. And let's just get into this and let's see what the machine has to say about what we just talked about. Okay, because I've explained it my way, and now we're going to let the manual explain it its way.
Class definitions, like function definitions, def statements, must be executed before they have any effect. You could conceivably place a class definition in a branch of an if statement, or inside a function. In practice, the statements inside a class definition will usually be function definitions, but other statements are allowed, and sometimes useful. We'll come back to this later. The function definitions inside a class normally have a peculiar form of argument list, dictated by the calling conventions for methods. Again, this is explained later. When a class definition is entered, a new namespace is created, and used as the local scope. Thus, all assignments to local variables go into this new namespace. In particular, function definitions bind the name of the new function here. When a class definition is left normally, via the end, a class object is created. This is basically a wrapper around the contents of the namespace created by the class definition. We'll learn more about class objects in the next section. The original local scope, the one in effect just before the class definition was entered, is reinstated, and the class object is bound here to the class name given in the class definition header, class name in the example.
Who the hell writes this crap? Anyway, that is it for this video. The next video is going to be a lot more interesting. We're actually going to run some example code. But for now, I just want you to sit on this and feel free to rerun this part, the reading part of the video, over and over again as many times as you have to do. And maybe it will enlighten you better than my description here. But anyway, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, relax. As we progress through these videos, you'll become more comfortable and things will make a little more sense. And with that, we'll see y'all in the next video.